lots of other girls I've seen know how to treat guys mean, but you would rather die than ever hurt me. So please don't ever change. No, don't you ever change. Oh, promise me you're always gonna be as sweet as you are. Please don't ever change. Don't you ever change. Please
Don't you ever change. Please don't you ever change here on CRMK.
I won't. I promise.
You promise. Karl Hanif is with us here in the studio this morning, and while I was playing Karl, and I've noticed you mentioned a couple of times before about your father, who must have been a bit of a role model for you, was he?
Yes, my father was. My father came here after the war. I was born here. My father, he was a textile worker. He worked his way up, and we got into business. But he was a very compassionate. I use the word compassionate because that's the world that we need to get back into. He was a compassionate person. He would go out of the way and help anybody, and it got to the stage where it was that much. People used to come to our house, and my mum used to say, "Why are you helping them? They don't do anything for you." But you see, that's what we need to stop as a society. Just because one person does something wrong, it doesn't mean we have to be exactly the same. And I use the word compassion because that's what's missing in society. And my father had a lot of it. He had a lot of friends. He would go out and help anybody that he could. Anybody. I remember a time when, he was like an estate agent. He'd go knock on the door, make the deal for you, and save you £10,000, £20,000, and he wouldn't benefit anything. All he would benefit that I have got my friend and saved him some money.
Fantastic, I think you're obviously taking after him in that sort of respect.
I think so, yeah.
It's good to see, but I think really that's one of the things in life, isn't it? That unfortunately the kids are not looking up to anybody, are they? They're looking into these flipping electronic machines, these Xboxes and iPads and pods and phones and all the rest of it, and that seems to be their life, doesn't it?
I think we as parents are at fault at that because my kids have grown up, and I have exactly been in there. And what we do is at Christmas we buy them all the goodies.
Yeah.
The latest PlayStations, the latest games, the latest phones, the latest technology. And because I've done that with my youngest, I didn't do that. When he was 8 years old, he hasn't even got a screen in his bedroom today. He's 17 years old. Because he needs to be focused. They need to know that there is light at the end of that tunnel. And once they get to know that light at the end of that tunnel, they get that disciplined. It's unbelievable. My son now, I got up the other morning, my wife did, and she noticed him had gone missing. And we thought, 6:30 in the morning, where's he gone? And he'd got up and he'd gone out jogging. He'd make that. He's making the right decisions, and that's at 17 years old. Yeah. Now, any other kid, he'd have probably gone on downstairs or put a game on or whatever. But
I probably would have got up till past 11.
It's these little things that I see within my own child, and the work that Kevin does at the boxing gym. The boys that he's changed their lives, and it does work.
So you got 3 sons, have you?
I have got 3. Yeah. I've got 4 kids, yeah.
So you got a daughter as well?
My eldest is the daughter, yeah.
Right. And what does she do? Is she different to the others?
Yeah, she's married. She's got a husband. Her husband works. They live on their own, yeah. She's just a normal housewife. Yeah. She works as well. But at the moment she's got the kids, so she's packed her job in. But yes.
I hope there's no listeners listening that will just catch on to what you said there, a normal housewife, because there is such a thing. Well,
normal housewife is, they all work nowadays.
That's right, they
all work. And, I think I didn't mean it in that sense, because we all multitask. I go home and I'll make my wife coffee, I'll make my kids a coffee, I'll make some food as well, but I think that's changing over generations. You know, the women are getting more, going out there working a lot more, and I think it is good.
I think it got to.
Because we need it, because we can't. It's not the old-fashioned way anymore. You know, women are coming out, and they have got the same rights as you and me.
Of course, the other side of that coin, which is the debatable point, is that, I mean, when I was growing up, I mean, all right, my mum did a little bit of part-time work, but that was for pin money more than anything. But, my mum was always at home, and therefore, it was very difficult for us because we couldn't run off and do things that we really wanted to, getting into mischief and that, because mum was always there,
Oh, come on, I don't believe you never got into mischief.
Well,
you get into mischief now.
I did, making up for it, but no, I suppose that it's just one of those factors of life, isn't it? The fact that the parents do have to go out to support their children.
Yeah, indeed.
And it's now then, Karl, you also run a magazine as well, don't you?
Yes, I do. I run a local business magazine called Easy Guide, and it's the local businesses in my magazine that support what we do for keeping kids off the streets.
Yeah,
and they supported us with the homeless as well at the beginning.
No, before we talked last week. Actually, you're organising a concert as well, aren't you? And you said you wanted to talk about that, or is that not? Is that too early for that?
Oh, it's a bit early at that at the moment. Yeah, because we're trying to look at. We're just in the process of that.
Yeah. Okay. Fine. All right.
So who does the magazine go to? Where do you get this?
We're trying to get it out as many places as we can.
Right.
We send it out to local homes as well and local businesses. I think the only problem at the moment is where everybody's getting problems with distribution.
That's always been a problem with magazine. Yeah.
Always has. We have got a solution for that. Next year.
Did you find that you had a problem with the name Easy Guide? I mean, did EasyJet the Easy Company not getting
Easy Cabs? They've gone there, haven't they?
Cabs,
no, I think the company Easy Guide has been going since 2005.
Oh yeah, it has.
So we was before Easy Cabs came on. I think they've shut down now.
They've been saying, they have. Yeah, there was a bit of fraud going on apparently, allegedly.
No, I know that it was because old Stelios with EasyJet. He jumped on the bandwagon, didn't he? If anybody came up with anything that was easy, easy food.
There was a cafe, wasn't
whatever,
there?
And old Stelios was in there,
Well, he hasn't been knocking on my door yet.
Was there one in Bletchley, wasn't there? I think the Easy Cafe or something, he closed down, didn't he? Or he made them change the name, I believe.
Remember. Yeah. You're the investigative journalist.
Well, that's true. Try to be.
Yeah. Karl, I mean, it's a massive problem that you've taken on, isn't it, really? Because when one argues, I mean, I argue with people who say that there's nothing to do in Milton Keynes, and this is adults, and yet I say to me, look, name anything that you think you'd like to do that isn't in Milton Keynes, from snow skiing to cinemas to theatres to waterboarding to water skiing to horse riding. If you go through any long list, climbing mountains, it's there in Milton Keynes for you, isn't it? But as you said earlier on, you've got to pay for it.
Yeah,
it is. This is it. This is the whole problem. And like you said, it is a mountain for us to climb. But I think it takes one person to start talking about this and making, saying that this is an issue. And it's, I've looked into it that deep where it's not just a matter of the child, it comes even down to the parents. They might be able to afford it, but the mother, because she's got to take him at 6 o'clock and pick him back up at 9, she's got 2 other kids and she's got a car. And she's got to put the kids in the car, and to her it's an hour just to get kids in the car to go and pick you up. And she won't explain that to the child, and she'll say, you know what, we just can't afford it. And that child won't know the reasons, because he won't know the reasons. He'll just go into other things then. And about when you said a lot of kids, you ask them and they all say, I don't know. I did that with my son at 8 years old, and when I asked him, what do you want to do, and it shocked what I saw. He moved his shoulders, his body moved before he opened his mouth. And I thought that brought a subject, but brought it back home to me, thinking, you know what, this I don't know is so bedded into our kids. It's in their body. So they'll go like that and then open, shrug their shoulders first and then say, I don't know.
You're a bit of a psychologist, really, aren't you?
Well, somebody mentioned that to me. My own sister said that. She'd done it at university. I said, well, there you go. I haven't got my degree, but I've got it.
Well, you don't need it, do you? It's a matter of studying what people do and how they react.
And the body language, and that's what picked that. When I picked that up, and then it's coming back to what Mike said is, the word I don't know. And you see it everywhere on TV. You see these programs with them all up with mouths covered over, and when they're watching all these programs about drugs and that, and the first thing that they say is, we got nothing to do and there's nowhere for us to go. Yeah. And that is exactly what I said. There's no light at the end of the tunnel. We need to make sure that these kids have got a light at the end of the tunnel. They have got a vision, and if they can see that the lights are there and the opportunities are there, I don't see a problem in it.
But the sad thing is, when I was born, I was a little boy a million years ago, and brought up in London, we had a big wooded area not very far from the house, maybe half a mile, something like that. And we used to go in there, and there would be gang warfare, and we would pick up bits of twigs, and they would be guns, and we would make bows and arrows, and we would have all sorts of things. But we made it ourselves, because that didn't cost anything. You made little dens and that,
I was the same. I used to make cardboard dens, make the street lights and put them inside. We used to be we were kids, all of us. But I think we live in a different world now, because I've done exactly the same. Is because there's all these things going around, paedophilia, kids aren't being saved, knives, all this going on. Every time our kids go out to play, we say to them, they'll say to us, Dad, can I go out and play? And they'll say, yeah, play there where I can see you. So us running to the woods, going out of sight, it's not happening anymore.
Fear factor, isn't it? But
and that's us as parents has done that.
Yeah, but is it any worse than it was when we were kids? Probably
that's right.
not. It's
but
just more
now,
people.
I think now it's about these after-school activities. Yeah, that's the time that we need to,
But I have you talk about knives. I have a scar on my thumb, between my thumb and the opening there, which is fading away now, fortunately, but only because of my age. But that was with a knife. And fortunately, I had gloves on my holding my handlebars with leather gloves on, and the opposite gang, and out come the knives, and walloped this guy. And had I not have leather gloves on, I think I would have probably lost my thumb, But so and that was 60 odd years ago.
Almost a sheltered life.
It comes back to boys will be boys.
Of course they will.
And this is we're never going to stop this. But as long as we can get, say, a number of kids out of that environment and put them into a...
But in a way, again, because I'm sorry I'll get harping back on me, but we used to play in this little truck. It was on a sort of like a bomb site, and somebody had dumped this little lorry there, and we used
probably
to get
dangerous, wasn't it, as well?
Well, it was, but we used to get in there and drive, and it was a coach, and it was we made all this. But one day there was the big gang fight, and somebody threw a brick at a little lad, and nearly killed him actually, and of course the police obviously got involved. And the next thing it was, because everybody said we know who threw the brick, it was that Barry bloke, and of course the next thing the police were knocking on my door, and then started grilling me, and I'm 9 or 10 years of age, something like that, about the fact that it was attempted murder. And I got it not only from them, but I got it from my mum and dad as well, because they were saying, why didn't you tell the police the truth? So I said I did. I wasn't anywhere near it at the time. I'd actually left the fight, because my philosophy in life when there was a big fight going on, was to get the hell out of it.
Run, yeah.
Just don't involve yourself. Just leg it.
It's happened last night.
Yeah,
it happened at the fair last night.
Yeah,
my son was there last night, and he did exactly that. And that is because he had his little cousins with him, and he said to me, I said, what did you do? He said, Dad, because we had the little ones, I thought, let's just get out of it. Yeah. And you see, 17-year-old, and it was some of it, the lads that were in the fighting, he knew one or two of them. Yeah. And one of my cousins that was with him, he said, he knew one of the lads, and he was going to go in, and he pulled him away. Yeah. Now, you see, that that might be because he's being disciplined, he's a bit focused, and he's not into the, you know, fighting. He's not into that sort of crowd. And all we need to do is sort of, you know, a bit more empathy. And these fights will happen. We had it at school. We used to have gang fights with schools. You know, you go and fight the other schools. But this is that is part of growing up. It is part of growing up. But I think it's part of growing up, and then when things really do overtake, we've got to have kids that know what to do. Like, I think
it's when you get to that stage in life where you suddenly realise that, you know, there are other people in life. There is teams, you know, there is teamwork, there's respecting other people, and you know, growing up with other people. Because I mean, I was in the army for a long time, and you know, many a night the day before payday, 4 or 5 of us would all sit down and we would just empty our pockets.